What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Culture FC, the weekly soccer show where we talk about everything culturally relevant to the beautiful game of soccer, lifestyle, fashion, music, politics, etc., etc., etc. The only thing we do not talk about are the actual scores and happenings on the field. My name's Alan.
I'm Brendan.
Louis. Today we covered quite a couple of good topics. We talked about Antoine Griezmann becoming the highlight and main star of Puma. We then talked about how much of an idiot he is and if he's a little racist. And then we went and talked about a couple of fans bombarding a ref's cafe with really bad Yelp reviews. And to top it all off, we talked about MLS coming to the music city of Nashville.
You're listening, you're watching, you're liking, you're subscribing, you want more, you need more, you have questions, we answer them. You have suggestions, we do them. Anything you need, we got you. Like, subscribe. Again, we love you.
Leave us that 5-star review if you do like our stuff.
And enjoy this episode.
SS episode. Yes,
Enjoy this episode.
Enjoy this episode. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Culture FC. This week, first topic, we're going to get into talking about Antoine Griezmann. He's kind of be the overarching topic of today. I think he's done enough this week to get that status. So first, we're going to be talking about him and his new Puma cleats that came out. So Puma has released this new cleat that it's pretty interesting. It has a bunch of holes around it on the upper where you can kind of mix and match where you would lace your stuff. So it's not the conventional just like standard laces that go across the front. It's kind of hard to explain. So you can follow the link in the show notes below. But basically the idea is it gives you more freedom on how you can lace up your boots, which is a pretty new concept. I don't think I've seen any of the major brands doing that for cleats.
No, I mean they kind of took the innovation of the one-piece upper. So there's no tongue the way that older cleats have. It's kind of keeping up with the theme that Nike
like
and Adidas have been doing.
Sock-like.
That sock-like spandex-y type thing that they have.
Right, and so the laces is basically just for where do you want your boot tighter. It's because it's not necessarily holding anything closed. It's just a matter of like where do you need a little bit more support, where do you need a little bit more whatever. I think that it's innovative as hell. I think that the ideas behind it really, really cool. But I don't know if I love the fact that he's getting his own cleat because like we've talked about that on the show before, you have Neymar, Pogba as like the next like two big stars after Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. And I think that, Puma doesn't always get a lot of love because they seem to always be like the third ranked behind Adidas and Nike. So it's kind of cool that Antoine Griezmann is now like the face of Puma. And they're giving him his own cleat and giving him that same like Paul Pogba Neymar feel.
Well, it seems like they're finally getting like a star because they had Aguero, and like Aguero's an amazing player, but I don't feel like he's ever been like marketable.
No. Yeah,
and then was Torres a part of that?
Cesc Fabregas.
Fabregas, right? But even he's like a cool, stylish dude, but again, not marketable really. I don't feel like
ever since they did stuff with Rihanna in their different lines. I think they're taking a whole new approach to how they market.
Well, they have like
stuff.
The Weekend now too, and I think I wouldn't say Future, but that he might be Reebok. But they've been taking a more like hip.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that Puma and Adidas are the ones taking the more hip stance.
Yeah,
the two companies that were always a little bit behind Nike for the past couple of years.
True.
So it's kind of cool that they were at the forefront of being like, we're gonna take these artists, these rappers, these whatever, and having them work with us.
Well, they're kind of taking like the Pepsi when Pepsi was below Coke. I mean, they still are, but when Pepsi was really far behind Coke, they took the same approach, and they were kind of doing like the rap artists in their commercials and showing it for the younger fan base. And Coke, they gained so much in terms of popularity on Coke, and then they stopped doing it, and then they fell back again. But that seems to be the overarching trend for these companies that are trying to kind of catch up to the number one spot. I personally actually really like these cleats. You could do with a little more subtle of a color.
Yeah.
But I think the laces thing is pretty dope. It kind of lets you personalize it in a way, but it also, I have noticed that sometimes you're kind of forced, if you're forced to just lace it up in one way, you might not get the feel that you want. Like sometimes I get a lot of pressure like on the right above like where my toes meet my feet, if that makes sense. Like I get a lot of pressure there, which I don't
both of
like.
you guys have cleats that are one piece. Like there's no tongue
Yeah.
in either of yours.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would. I've never had those, so I don't know how the lacing would manage that.
I mean, I took my laces out, so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think I
necessarily
definitely
use them.
need the laces. I played last week with cleats that didn't have the tongue that don't have the ankle thing for the first time, and I think I twisted my ankle 4 times. So I don't know if that's a mental thing, but or it was just bad luck. But I don't think I'm gonna be going back to them without a tongue for a little bit. I don't know. I was just a little nervous, but I mean, Antoine, he might be at risk a little bit now. After what he did this week, if he's really gonna still be the face of Puma.
Right.
Oh yeah. So good old Antoine Griezmann gets invited to a '80s party, and he just decides to go full on. You might even call it blackface.
Black body.
Black body.
Dude.
This man dresses up as a Harlem or like the NBA All Stars from 1969, and he's literally covered. He painted himself black, like a black man.
As if he just jumped into a pool of black ink.
Yeah, and
furthermore, he tossed on a big afro wig.
Right.
So,
Wait.
an NBA. I thought it was a Harlem Globetrotters too, but
it was
an
69.
NBA 69 jersey. Oh yeah, 69 jersey, and then he had the Harlem Globetrotter shorts.
Oh jeez.
So there's a lot to kind of go over.
And he initially didn't think it was the worst idea in the world. He was
Well,
like, everybody calm down. It's not that big of a deal. It's a tribute to them. And then
So yeah, my initial idea was this: if he were going as one specific player, maybe you get away with it, right? Maybe blackface itself, it's horrible, but he has a big. All of his friends that play for France are black, so maybe he runs it by one of them. He's like, "Yo, guys, this cool."
you guys, what
And
do you
then,
think?
right, if he was like, "Oh, I'm being this person," sure, maybe, but I don't even think he was being a person. He was just being a basketball player.
Yeah.
It's just so racist.
So we talked about in the last episode, the man is a very big NBA fan. He loves basketball. That's awesome. But you gotta understand, blackface is not okay no matter you're gonna get backlash. You didn't think to maybe text your buddy Pogba or I don't know, Anthony Martial, people that you've played with for mad long, hey guys, real quick, I have something to clear by you. If I were to do this at a party and post it on Twitter where I have, several million followers, whatever it is, you think it'd have some backlash? No, he just went and did it.
He definitely didn't send out a Snapchat before, yo, getting ready for the party either, because I feel any one of his teammates would have been like, "What's
Yo, dude,
up?
what are you doing, man?
What's going on, Grizzy?"
Come
So
on, buddy.
I want to pose a question to the two of you: is he racist?
No, okay,
No.
so he's definitely not racist because, again, he is boys with, Paul Pogba and all these guys that are on the French, the whole French national team is basically black, and he's super cool with all of them. The question you should be asking is he a fucking idiot? It's dude, the one question I had that, we were talking about this before in, a group chat that we had with friends, is I was like, okay, I didn't understand totally if it was a racist thing in France, because I obviously hear the history that the U.S. has with slavery and African Americans, blah blah blah. I was like, oh, maybe blackface is just a thing that has a really strong connotation in the U.S. So I was like, oh, maybe it's because he's from France. It's not that big of a deal there, right? Then I look into it, and it is. So this had happened, but again, this had happened in a newspaper in France where someone had done blackface in a magazine article, and it was a huge backlash, blah 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 blah. So it's just that if it is a big deal, I don't get how you fall a trap to that. Also, do you not have a fucking manager that is checking what you're doing?
Your
Dude,
agent's
you're
yo, dude, don't go like that.
world-class superstar. You're the high, probably top 10 most notable soccer athletes in the world. You don't run these things by.
Yeah, right. You don't just say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this." Work out.
Hey, manager, I'm just gonna do a little blackface. Is that cool?
Yo, I will say, full disclosure. I think Halloween of maybe second or first grade. we naively, me and my little brother were painted blackface.
What were you being?
We were dressed up as Jamaicans. And I don't know what my mom was thinking, but we were like, yo, full send, let's just paint our faces. And I remember, I think that the night went fine.
So maybe...
The night went fine, but like my mom the next day or like a couple days later went up to one of her coworkers who was Indian, and she's like, look what my sons wear for Halloween, and she's like, essentially, like, what the fuck did you do?
Oh my god, dude.
So it was kind of a big deal, I think, but
You're
we were
lucky
just so
Facebook
little,
wasn't a
and
thing.
oh, I know,
That would have gotten shared heavy.
oh my god, that would have been, you would have been in the news. My mom would have been shamed to fucking all hell, like. But not, we were just naive kids. So I think he was maybe in the same line as I was when I was first
you're
grade.
too far removed from the situation.
Yeah.
But Brendan was what, 10?
Yeah, I was
that's
not even
true.
10, dude.
But did your mom see you do it?
My mom painted me.
Oh no.
Okay, so...
But, like, the funny thing is, like, but she's, like... I think she too was just naive as well.
That's what I'm
so
saying.
like I kind of understand where
he's
he's coming
far,
from. Seeing as I've done
far
it.
removed from the issue. Like
Yeah.
I can
Like
see
you
that.
think you live in this world where you
'Cause
think everything is so okay
I
with
personally know
anything.
your mother, and she's a
Yeah.
lovely lady, so I wouldn't say
She's an angel, but
Right.
like I think she's just so like okay with the situation that like I'll just do it too. Like
Right.
Okay,
I don't
so
think this is a huge...
I want to pose a question to get you guys feel. Do we think was it a big overreaction by the media, or was he a fucking idiot? I think that okay, look, blackface not okay. I think he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And you have to understand you're a big athlete. But what do you guys think?
my initial view of it, but it's just because obviously I'm not African American, I don't have that, but I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he dressed as a black person, an NBA player, so he wanted to show up. I was like, it's probably not that great, but I also wasn't like super offended because it wasn't offending me. So my initial reaction wasn't that bad. It's only once we started talking in the group text with all our friends that they were like, yo, this is pretty bad. Then I was like, yeah, I guess that this, like, if you're looking at it from that kind of sense, it's pretty bad just because of the historical connotation of it. But my initial reaction was like, yeah, I can see why some people are going to get offended.
So, I think, like, I don't think he's racist. I really don't. But I think that he shouldn't have done it at all. You should look at it and be like, you know what, this isn't going to end well. I'm not going to do it. But to an extent... it's one of like those ideas that you have at night and you go, should I do this? And instead of waking up.
Remember that lady last year or 2 years ago who like vehemently thought she was black to a point where she like kind of tanned herself so much? What was her name when she was like the leader of the like
the NAACP?
Yeah, she's the leader of the. She had like cornrows and braids.
Yeah.
Like he kind of reminds me of that because like he is like so ingrained into the culture and like a lot of his like personality is very like urban hip hop culture, like African culture. So like I can see him just being like, yeah,
I'm one of them, one of the boys. But like,
you're like,
and it's not like he's even tan.
Right,
he's
white.
A very bright.
He had to
white.
go into the tub a few times to like get layers of
I
different
bet.
colors because like
So
he's
did I.
too white.
The man.
Like. I just don't. Yeah, like
I think doing it as a young kid for Halloween is one thing. Yeah, it's stupid, but like doing it as a grown man in such a popular light.
So another thing. So what got people really pissed though was that not even did he do this, he did it, got the backlash, took it down, but then tweeted afterwards. His tweet was like,
Relax.
Relax. It's not that big of a deal.
Calm down, friends. I'm a fan of the Harlem Globetrotters and of its great era.
It's a tribute. It's a tribute. So that, I think, got people more pissed because then it's like, you took it down, but you don't necessarily think it's bad. You're just taking it down because you don't want the backlash. That got people a little more pissed. Because it's like, he doesn't necessarily mean it, and he doesn't necessarily see the fault in it either. So,
I can... Yeah, I don't know. I think that race is it's one of those things where it's like,
it's
You could sit here and argue as like, do you think he's really racist, or do you think like he just like means well? And like, sure, I could think that he means well, but I can see how people take it badly.
It's also different because like we're not the ones being directly targeted,
right?
But years and years of abuse that African Americans have had to go through, I can easily see why this is come on, man, like that's just not.
I will say I'd love to see I would have loved to see the reactions of his teammates.
He showed up.
Yeah, like the next practice,
like,
even
come
just
on,
like the next day, it's like, dude, we saw what you did, man. What are you doing?
Like they I wonder if he has that notoriety of being like yo, you're just a jokester or whatever, not like a racist, but it's just like, did he show up and everyone laughed?
Yeah, it was everyone just like, yo, you're an idiot.
Or did they all go, you're a racist and we hate you? Like, I want to know the next time he goes to a France practice, what happens?
Yeah, because that's like a predominantly like African-based team.
He's like the only starter that's white.
Him and Lloris, yeah.
Yeah, the goalie and him, that's it.
I don't know. I wish there was more. I wish he came out with a little bit more.
Yeah.
And talked a little bit more about it, but like...
He was just like, nah, fuck this, I don't really care.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, don't worry about it.
Don't worry, guys. I'm just, I became Puma's biggest athlete. I'm just going to go blackface real quick. Black body.
Wow.
So, going back to the original topic we were talking about, how do we think this affects his career as a... How much of an impact does it have on his appeal as a personality and as him as a player? He's still going to be playing and all this stuff, whatever. But what's the impact on him?
I don't think anything much of all. I think
really?
Puma's sank too much money into him already with these cleats that they're just going
to they've
try to blow it over. His apologies, what it is.
I think for what it was, like he wasn't doing. It was a pretty racist thing, but he wasn't doing anything like super racist, if that makes sense. Like he wasn't like doing more derogatory things towards African Americans or people of color. He was kind of just posing there, and that itself is racist, sure. But he wasn't like I can't think of like a
he didn't
situation.
like attack anybody.
Yeah, right.
Black
He was just like he was just posing there. Sure, black.
It's like
face.
cultural appropriation.
Right, it was a cultural appropriation thing. I think. I agree with B that they probably already have too much invested in him right now to really sink him, especially since they don't really have another guy
that's that big.
I don't see Puma dropping him and going back to Aguero, who's at the end of his career.
I mean,
was
look at
already
Rihanna. Like Rihanna, not racist, but like she does some scandalous shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's another thing.
But she's more because she's designing with them too. She's not just the spokesperson.
Well, plus her stuff isn't like necessarily culturally. But she was like these artists like they're
she's
not
like I guess she's an artist that's already kind of painted this light for herself that she is kind of.
It's almost as if Puma knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, but with this is probably a little bit of a curveball.
Yeah.
What do we think this effect is on him? So he's in a particularly interesting situation because he almost left Atletico Madrid this past summer, but because they had the transfer ban, he ended up staying.
Right.
So. Basically, he had said he wants to leave after this coming the year that we're in. So by June, he basically wanted to be gone out of Atletico.
Yeah.
So how does that impact his market value? Like, do we think that this really is going to have a big impact on his career in general, or is it just going to be a little blip that gets washed over? And
I think just initially looking at the initial reaction too, like there was an initial reaction that day.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I haven't seen much on the news media that cover sports, saying really anything that could like hurt him in terms of legal action or anything like that would kind of hamper his ability to play and or like take his focus away from soccer. So I don't see he's still the guy that's worth 120 million regardless. Yeah. I think a team that wants him is probably going to get him. He's 100. I think he's like 95% chance of leaving. I mean, he was on the brink of leaving if it weren't for that transfer ban for Atletico. I think it's foolish of him, especially with FIFA trying to take the anti-racist stance.
Yeah,
they're like it's one of their biggest things that they have going for them is that say no to racism, which they stamp on like every game.
Yep.
Every single international match has that. It's especially huge in countries like Italy, etc., where players get bananas and shit thrown at them. So
really vehemently,
it hurts the world football image because you have this organization that's standing up against it, and then you have this one guy who.
Who despite the fact that I think that we all agree that he's not racist, considering
I love the guy. I actually think he's super cool and like.
I follow him on all social media, despite the fact that half the time I can't read it because it's in French. But
I think he's a really cool guy. Like he's super street with everything that he does. Like he seems like a regular guy that just plays soccer. So it's annoying in that sense to see him kind of take a step back from what we're trying, the culture of FIFA is trying to kind of fix this whole racism thing. So
right. Well, for me, I think that Puma finally found their perfect athlete, right? Because he is ingrained in culture. It's not like Aguero who he played a soccer, has his family, goes home or whatever, and does his thing. But it's like you have a guy like Antoine Griezmann who wants to be out there in the spotlight. He wants to be
at the rap concerts. He wants to be at the shows and scene. And
in the same way that Neymar does for Nike and Pogba does for Adidas.
Right.
I think that Puma finally has their guy. It just seems like they launch him, right? This big campaign for just him, and he goes blackface within a couple of days or whatever. So it's like bad timing. But I don't personally think it's going to affect him too much overall. I think it'll probably just be washed over. And
I do think that he should take a history lesson and see why it is not good.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, France played a big role in all of that too.
Yeah.
In a bad way. So
right. So I feel like if he doesn't, based off his reaction to it, he doesn't think that it's that big of a deal.
No.
He should maybe someone to sit down with him and be like, "Hey, man, this is a little bit more important than you're claiming it to be."
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a mistake.
It's a mistake.
We all make mistakes.
We get to laugh at it.
Ours don't get blown up in front of.
Yeah, Brendan's didn't because social media didn't exist.
Yeah, I actually think if Facebook was alive, you got shared so heavy.
You wouldn't have been. You would have been on a different.
We would have been the rest of your life. You would have been the racist kid.
Yeah, we would have been on the local news.
Yeah,
my mom would have been so ashamed.
Now instead you're just gonna be the racist guy on our podcast.
But I would not.
I'm just kidding. Brendan's not a racist. He was a little kid.
I never saw the picture.
Again, we all make mistakes.
I hope your mom burnt those pictures.
Oh, yeah.
But secretly, I hope your mom kept them because I want to see
no,
them.
she burst into tears when the woman confronted her. She's like, "Oh my god, I didn't know." But
yeah, no, see that? Yeah, maybe he's just far removed and whatever.
Yeah.
But all right, I think we're done with the racist segment. Say no to racism.
Say no.
This is
just say no.
Cool. So let's move it along.
Moving along to a little lighter topic. This one is definitely funnier.
This is hilarious. Oh my god!
When I read this article, I thought it was.
Speaking of social medias.
Yeah. So Lazio fans, everyone knows, one of the bigger teams in Rome. Roma's leading rival. Probably one of the biggest derbies in world football. They had a game against. Was it Torino? Yeah. They had a game against Torino, and the refs they lost 3-1. We don't talk about score, but the fans felt like the ref kind of fucked them in that game pretty heavy. They had a call that they thought was super controversial, and what they did to get back at him is, sorry, it's hard to say without laughing. To retaliate to him. So his name is Piero Giacomelli, and Piero has a cafe in Italy, in Rome. That's like his side gig, that's his business that he runs. So after the game, the Lazio fans found that out, and they actually went on Yelp. And so many Lazio fans reviewed him negatively that his thing is rated at a 1 star on Yelp, and it's so bad, ruining this man's business. But it's such a funny way to see. When I heard this, I was like, "Damn, that sucks for him." At the other side, it's better than some countries where they fucking kill him.
Yeah,
so.
right. At least they're not fucking killing
Well, it's just funny because if you've ever played a soccer game with a referee, you've gotten mad at a referee. You wanted to tell him to go fuck himself and all this shit. But then you find out a ref has a cafe and you go on and make a ton of bad reviews.
Yeah.
That to me is the best retaliation. You just said, in some countries they've killed referees over shit like that. These people just were like, you know what? Fuck your business.
Yeah. And another super funny thing that I think is he's gonna have that negative review on Yelp, but I think it's gonna help him.
Yeah, it's gonna bring more attention.
They brought so much attention in the news that now people are gonna be like, I wonder what I would actually rate this. So let me go to this cafe and see what I think of it.
Well, one Google review said, "Do you cook like you referee?" And it's just it's so petty and it's so amazing that I love it.
That is so good.
The other one is, this place is as bad as Giacomelli. Like that's just awesome.
I wonder how quickly it took them to find it. Like, were they writing the reviews as soon as they were walking out of the stadium? Like, one guy was like, "Yo, I found his cafe. Let's go."
The best part is, like, you're there in like a supporters group, and you have your phone. All you gotta do is be like, "Guys, hold on, real quick. I found it. I'm gonna put it in our WhatsApp group. Everybody's gotta start going bad reviews." So like, that's amazing.
I was reading the match analysis too, and the match analysis was saying like, yeah, he screwed them up on that call, but Lazio was just playing so badly that that call didn't even really matter on them losing the game. Like, so like, this is just like their outlet. It's like, fuck this ref.
Dude, let's really stick it to him.
Oh, that sucks.
So in today's Culture FC lesson, if you're mad at a referee, don't kill him. Instead, find out where his business is and shame him on the internet.
Yeah.
And I think that's the lesson for today.
Ugh.
Man, that's too funny though. Oh my god.
That's great.
Social media.
That's one of the funniest. That's one of the funniest things I've seen for like a fan base going against a ref.
Definitely.
Kind of expressing their anger, but
I can't seem to find the TripAdvisor place, but looking
oh,
at screenshots.
was it TripAdvisor or not Yelp?
Well,
maybe you got so
there are
many
a couple
negative.
different
Maybe
ones.
I mean sometimes if you get so many negative that they just take it off.
Yeah, because they're probably like, wait, this isn't.
Yeah.
So, but I think. Yeah, I think they did it on all different aspects. So it was Google reviews, Yelp, TripAdvisor, all these things, and everyone just bombarded it with it.
Yeah. That sucks for him. Like, he's gonna have to bring that business back on like all these platforms if it got so negatively reviewed.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that is.
Hopefully they have.
It's so petty. Oh my god.
It's it's one of the most petty things I've heard ever.
But this is what you do now.
Yeah,
in the world of.
I'd rather that than they go and hurt him.
True.
I mean, in some countries that's still sadly a thing that happens. I'd much rather this. It's still killing kind of his livelihood.
Yeah.
But it's not hurting him physically or his family. I mean, the refs' families get threatened all the time.
Yeah, right.
Especially in some of these more passionate countries. So the give and take, pros and cons to both.
It says it is not clear whether Giacomelli is still the owner of the cafe, and website Football Italia says he is no longer running the business.
So you're telling me that there's a chance that these people reviewed this badly and the man doesn't even own it anymore?
Yeah,
that's even better.
The Facebook page for Cafe Rossetti also appears to have been taken down.
Oh wow!
Oh, I think that makes the pettiness even better because it's like he may or may not own this, but let's do it anyway.
Yeah, just find the thing that
he's connected to it. Let's just ruin it.
Let's ruin this Italian family who now owns it. They're all nice and trying to make a living.
In my mind, this is what's happened. This one fan, super pissed, goes on the internet to try to find this guy's address. He types in his name. The cafe pops up. He goes, "This guy owns the cafe." Tells everyone around him and all his Lazio fans. They are just perpetuating this lie that he owns this restaurant or he owns this cafe. They all hop on Yelp, write 1-star reviews. He doesn't even actually own this thing.
Dude,
so
the sheer just
the story just gets better.
Coming together and for common good and just shitting on someone is crazy. Like what a fan base will do for one bad game. It's oh, it's crazy.
For a call that may have not have infected the game at all.
Yeah, but that's soccer players down to a T.
And was it a cup match or anything like that?
It's probably just a regular game.
But Lazio does have one of the most
crazy
intense fans when they're one of the few not few fans, but their fan base when they're at the stadium don't even watch the game. They stand the opposite way and just chant. Like they have the guys coordinating. Wow. They have so many flags going along in their ultra section.
Yeah,
they don't even know what's really happening in the game. Like they'll obviously know the score, like the goal, but they don't really follow it. They're just there supporting Lazio. So
it's such a crazy dynamic because they're not the only team that do it. So to me, when you have these fans, right, that they're not even watching the game, they're just pumping up the rest of the crowd.
Yeah.
It's it's almost like a necessary evil.
Yeah.
But if you're that guy and you're a big Lazio fan, don't you think you'd want to be watching?
Yeah, it's weird. Well, they're trying to be the hype.
Yeah.
The hype beasts of the stadium.
So I mean, they're necessary. So it's kind of cool though. But yeah, so I guess we're gonna move on from that topic.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was hilarious. Next topic we're going to be covering is, today is December 21st. Yesterday on December 20th, the MLS announced their newest expansion team.
Yes.
So there were several teams that applied. I think it was 12 teams applied to be the next 2 expansion teams for the MLS. And one report I read, it was basically like 4 of them, no chance. 4 of them were still in the works. The proposal wasn't great. And then there was just basically 4 finalists that MLS was deciding between.
So it was Cincinnati.
It was Cincinnati, Detroit, Nashville, and
what's that?
Sacramento.
So all of those places actually have a very passionate second or third division team that their fans have been insane about. Detroit has this Detroit City FCSC, whatever, the Detroit City Club, and they have a super passionate fan base. Cincinnati, they pack their stadium despite the fact that they're in Ohio, Middle America, kind of like not much going on, but they pack their stadium. Same thing with Sacramento and Nashville, same thing. So they all had really, really good bids, but Nashville was decided yesterday as the expansion team. And so, give me your thoughts, guys. What do you think of MLS team being in Nashville?
You go. Mine's lengthy, kind of.
I think that it's pretty good. I know that looking into a little bit about it, like they have a really big financial backing for this, so it's going to be like a top-notch expansion, not just like some half-assed
I'm sure that's
experience.
probably one of the biggest things.
That's probably the biggest thing, and he's got a lot of connections with philanthropy and what have you. Also, Nashville is turning into one of those hubs where there's lots of construction. It's becoming one of the destinations for tourism, and along with the Predators going to the Stanley Cup and the amount of fans they had
showed up.
I think
so I think honestly, out of all of those the 4 cities that had bids in, Nashville probably makes the most sense in terms of kind of electricity, excitement.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place that doesn't really have any other sports teams other than the Predators, really. I don't see them as a soccer place, but also we've seen that some of the least expected regions of the United States are kind of some of the bigger areas that have a strong backing and a lot of fans that go out and watch.
Like Seattle.
I think that in terms of popularity as a city, it's growing enormously. I feel like every other day I see some girl in her bachelor party in Nashville.
Yep. Every week.
Music is already a huge part of the culture there, which is exciting because that brings, every country's a huge thing there. That music, soccer, all makes sense. Location-wise, I have no idea how good it is, but I think it makes sense if you're looking at it from a business perspective. The footballing terms is still something yet to be seen, but hopefully it works.
So my thing is that I think that it's in a perfect place that if it works out, it'll be one of the first it'll be one of the bigger cities that add American flavor to soccer because it's Nashville. You think of Nashville, you think of country
American,
music. You think of all of that
I don't necessarily think large ethnic population.
No, I don't.
But
right.
Sure.
Right. I think we're very American, which is yet to be really. I don't know.
Because the longest time soccer's been in the MLS has been especially recently it's been helped by a lot of foreign players, which is amazing. It's awesome. But I just think that the MLS, if in Nashville, it could have that nice American flavor to it, where it adds other aspects of American culture to not just American culture, because American culture is such a broad term, but I'm talking about Southern American culture, which can be very loving and the music's great. And if they bring that to a team, I think it could really, really help them, grow and add that nice flavor to MLS.
Because it's interesting to see because there are other teams teams in Texas and teams in the South that theoretically are very Southern and in heritage, but have so much support from these Hispanic communities, right, and more of these mixed communities. So it'd be interesting to see in a place where I think the demographic is a little higher, just white American, if that works. Right?
Which is nothing wrong with that.
No,
it's just a matter of being different.
It's another piece of the puzzle and see if it works as a fan group, really. That I think that's really cool. I didn't know that Nashville was in for the bid.
Nope.
I think, look, it's super interesting. I would love to go to a game there. I feel like if depending on where I haven't seen it. Do they have plans
It's
for the stadium?
Yeah, the stadium, they already have a plan.
Close.
It's literally, you just have to cross the bridge from like downtown, I think is what it is. I could be wrong, but that to me is one of those things that like, that'd be a destination. Being like, oh, you know, the Revs are playing Nashville next weekend, guys. Like, what are we doing? You guys want to take the weekend? We're going to go to the game Saturday afternoon. We can go down, you know, Main Street in Nashville at night, hang out. Like, that to me adds so much to MLS, which is, as a supporter, it's going to make me want to travel. You know what I mean? Because traveling support is always important. So it's not a matter of like, yo guys, we have a weekend. You want to go to Nashville? Let's go to Nashville.
It's that thing. Do I want to go to Columbus and watch?
Not necessarily. Like I could.
I want to go to Nashville.
But you tell me we're going to Nashville?
Way farther.
Let's do it.
Nashville.
Right. But. So I think that's pretty cool. Do you think that there's some added pressure now with Atlanta doing so well that now all these teams that are jumping on board have to not match it because it is a hard feat to do for a new team, but when you join the MLS, not blow it, not have a losing season.
Here's a funny thought that I think is very interesting. Atlanta United and Orlando City doing so well Atlanta because it was their first year, they set the bar super high. Orlando because they were able to develop over 4 years, that amazing culture. Here's a team that flew under the radar because it came about in the same time they did. Minnesota. Minnesota was brought up similarly in that same span as Atlanta and Orlando in that same little window. But they flew under the radar to an extent. They were given they just kind of, they did okay. They didn't do too bad, didn't do too well or anything. But they didn't have too much pressure because I think there was so much new going on. With Nashville, it could be that, you know, I have to double check when they start playing in the MLS because I don't know if it's this year or next year. But if it's this year, they'll have the added ability of being a new team along with LAFC. But if it's next year, they'd have to, you know. So what I'm trying to say is that
they're getting overshadowed by the bigger markets. So like a snowy city where like media isn't really that big of a focus. So they got away with it when Orlando and Atlanta, so it kind of took the hype away from them. If they're coming in when LA is coming in, LA is going to blow them out of the water in terms of hype, and they're going to be the measuring stick no matter what.
Depending who puts more money into it.
Right, so we'll see. I mean,
so one thing that I think is interesting is that this is coming out. This is only happening because a group of supporters in Nashville came together and created Nashville FC, which had then renamed it to Nashville SC and put together one of the coolest crests that I think in U.S. soccer. I love it. I actually use it as an example for something that I did, and I absolutely love their crest. So these supporters came together and built this team from the ground up, and it was a supporter-run club. And they were able to prove that people in Nashville cared about soccer, and that's why the MLS bid even came about. And so what I was worried about is, you know, all right, Nashville is approved as a thing. Are they going to, as Nashville's approved as an MLS city, are they going to just put a new team in and just say, hey guys, follow this team despite the fact that this other club, Nashville SC, existed? Turns out the owners that the MLS got in that bid, they bought a majority shareholder of this team, of Nashville SC. So all of those fans, it's still going to be Nashville Soccer Club. I hope they don't change the crest because to me the crest looks amazing.
I think what I really like is that it's the same colors of the Predators. So I hate, it's not that I hate it, but I think it's so cool when a lot of the teams from the same city
have the same color.
All in the same color, because then it's just like there's so much more unity that goes into a city. I mean, it's nice. I mean, obviously the Pats and the Red Sox and Celtics, but like, I don't know. It would have been cooler if they were
Seattle.
almost
The Seahawks, the Sounders, and the other Seattle teams. They all have that same
kind of have that same vibe where like everything could have the same color, just rocking throughout the city.
I like that a lot.
I think that idea is really cool. So if they did keep it, that would be awesome. I think that would help boost kind of the especially initially. Like you could show up to a game wearing the Predators shirt, a T-shirt, or something.
And it would make a difference. Like, let's say
still fit in.
Let's say the game went let's say there was a playoff game in Nashville in the fall, and then like it was the home opener for the Nashville Predators. Why wouldn't you be able to just wear the Nashville Predators like jersey to the game?
It wouldn't be like here where like you go to a Red Sox game rocking a Celtics jersey. The stands kind of they have the red and blue, but you also have the mixed in green. So there's nothing wrong with it. I just think it's cooler.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll keep a lookout for Nashville. I think that one of the big things with them is they were able to cultivate fans before the club, before an MLS club came. You know what I mean? They had their USL club or Nassau club. I'm not sure which one they played in, But they played in the second division, third division, and they were able to build that fan base. They legitimately have fans who go to these games. There's a lot of people going to the games anyway.
And the transition's super easy.
Especially if it's the same club.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not that issue of, I supported them, now I gotta go support these guys. Like,
right.
It's kind of still the same ballpark.
Which I think was an issue in Detroit. Because in Detroit, MLS was like, we don't want, like, if we do grant, because they haven't closed Detroit yet, because there could be a chance that they do open up in Detroit.
Detroit's super against the MLS coming in because of the whole commercialization of it, and they want to change their culture that they have already with the players, with the club. And so it's nice to see kind of these smaller clubs getting their, not a chance because they're going to be broken up regardless, but kind of still propagating the success they've had with fans into the MLS.
But the reason why I find it interesting is that this is the third club that got promoted, quote unquote, another version of promotion, because it was with Orlando City came first. They used to have an older badge, and then they came up to the MLS. They kept the same style. It was still purple. They still have a line on the front. They kept the same general thing, so they didn't completely wipe the slate clean.
As long as it's not getting obliterated. The old
Minnesota United, same thing. They brought them up from Nashville or USL, I'm not sure which one, and they changed the crest a little bit, I think, but they kept the general things intact, which I think makes more sense than wiping the slate clean.
Yeah.
And now we have Nashville. So hopefully so on MLS's site, if you go on it right now, they don't have this crest listed. So that's why I got a little worried. I was like, ooh, are they going to change it completely? I hope that if they do change it to an extent, they keep the general colors. Like we said, I love the colors. I just hope they don't change it too much, because there's nothing worse than like alienating a fan base because you need to make it your own kind of thing.
I think they might, like my idea, I think they might change it just like what is their mascot?
There is
I
nothing.
feel like there's such
but Atlanta,
idea behind mascots. Yeah, I hope that Atlanta changes it a little bit, but the Atlanta one I guess kind of broke that mold, but I don't know. I hope that they keep it because I think this is dope.
Yeah.
Dang, you hop on the Nashville SC website.
They automatically
says, hey, you want to interested in playing? Like, we have a tryout in January.
That's pretty cool.
So you know what I think it is though, because they're gonna still keep a team in the third division as like
the developmental.
Yeah, so they're gonna have two Nashville teams.
What a lot of the teams do now.
But this is gonna be promoted as the main MLS team.
And I think that they're probably too far along in their logos and stuff to change anything.
Oh
at this
no,
point.
MLS will change it
You
if
think?
they want to.
Dude, if they find some design that's the way they think the money's going to be behind, I think they'll change it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so we'll wait and see
I
on
guess
that.
We'll see.
Because MLS hasn't put this logo because on the top of MLS site they have a little bar that has all the teams' logos. So that hasn't come out yet. They haven't really. It's been kind of a quiet acquisition. I was really confused about how this was going to happen until a little bit ago when I looked it up and found out that the guy literally bought it from the supporters, the millionaire owner they got. But yeah, so we'll look forward to Nashville. We're definitely going to be making a trip down to Nashville as soon as they start playing because, like we said, that sounds like a really fun time. And yeah, hopefully they do what Atlanta did. Come in and crush it season 1. Like, that would be amazing.
Yeah, get some good players, set a good foundation, get a fan base, invest the money in a good stadium and kind of ways to integrate the fans and the culture more. I think that they've seen this now, especially seeing the success and the mold that Atlanta has built. They should be reading everything in that notebook. And like, don't forget to make it your own thing. Right.
You know what I mean? Atlanta, big in hip hop, they use that to pump up their people
that's
and everything.
Their thing. But
get
in there and throw some Kenny Chesney on there.
Yeah, throw some Kenny Chesney, Blake Shelton, ramp it up in the stadium, do your thing, you know? So
that should be fun.
Yeah.
All right, this week we're gonna be doing something a little different. No celebrity football fan, but we're gonna kind of do something interesting, and we're kind of go through, and we're just gonna pick one of our favorite current football jersey out there. Doesn't have to be a specific team you support. Doesn't have to be whatever, but we'll go with that. I'll start off. My favorite jersey. I think both home and away. We're gonna do just one home or away, but I think this team did especially well. 27-18 for their home jersey, Club America. So I speechless sometimes when I see it. It's so dope in my So the jersey's blue, navy on the top, and then it kind of goes into this Aztec, I don't know what you call that, like zigzag pattern almost, with another blue, red, and a lighter version of blue, and then it just goes directly into this yellow. So it's the colors that Club America normally wears, playing on the tradition of their 1994-95 team, which is considered one of their best teams in history. But something about it, like with their sponsor, the Huawei, they make like technology, and then I don't like the Home Depot. I think that's hideous. That
they have two sponsors on the front.
And the sponsor on the back.
Two sponsors on the back.
So they have the South American thing of
dude.
they have to get sponsors to survive, so they just stick as many on. But I think that the overall design of it is so dope. I looked when this first came out. I looked into buying it for like 2 straight weeks, but then I was just like, I would be kind of a poser. Like I get it, but then if a Mexican fan comes up to me and is like, "Hey man,
what do you think?"
I was like, I just think they're dope, man. Like so
sick jerseys though.
I feel like you can get away with it for European teams because you won't run into that many around here. But like for Club America, I feel like there's a good support around here. But yeah, I think that this is for sure one of the dopest jerseys.
Is it just me or does it look like feathers?
The middle.
That's part of
that's the Huawei. That's their logo. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, I thought you were talking about the blue. And
not really. To an extent, but then I look closer now. Never mind.
But I mean, they are the Eagles, so they like. I guess that thing kind of would make sense. But yeah. That's my pick for this season.
I'll go next. My jersey of choice happens to be the team I support, Liverpool. I didn't have many other teams in mind, but as far as Liverpool goes, they've always been a team that uses a lot of red, and the red they use this year is much darker than the bright fire engine reds you'd see in the past, and it's way darker. It's way more sleek. It takes design nods from I think the 1970s design. I always like the long sleeve jerseys just because I like a long sleeve kit better. And it's interesting this year. I think they took a little bit more attention to their detail because it's their 125th year anniversary.
So they're going for a little more historical.
Historical.
I will say that this is one of my more favorite recent Liverpool jerseys. That I actually like this, and normally I hate them.
It looks clean.
They take the weird modern. Clean. They take weird modern leaps that are just hideous for it.
Yeah, New Balance has been making some weird stuff for them.
Yeah, but
has been.
But this jersey's dope.
I'm it stinks because as much as I love Liverpool and New Balance, sometimes I wish that we had more of an Adidas sponsorship just because they're a company that's really taking soccer so seriously.
Yeah. And they take nods to the past, but with still modern takes without being exuberant.
Exactly. They subtly do it well.
I just keep thinking of that fucking yellow, green, ugly Liverpool jersey that you guys had a season or two ago. Maybe now, is it?
Oh, the highlighter yellow. That was last season. Then we have orange this season.
Yeah.
I don't like the third kits that they've been making. I feel like they've put so much into the first, the away and home, and then the third kit they're just just splash neon on it and we'll be fine. No one else is gonna use that color. We're fine.
Make it bright and that's it. Yeah.
Bright. No one else will do it.
Yeah.
But that's my pick for today.
Yeah. Louis?
Yeah, so we talked about how it wasn't going to be teams we support, but I'm just going to
go ahead. It didn't need to be.
It didn't need to be. But my personal favorite is the black away Manchester United 2017-2018 kit.
Yeah.
Not just because I'm a biased fan. Yes, I am a biased fan. Okay, it played a part in my choosing of it, but I will say I just think that the pattern on it, it's these weird little... It's a very 90s pattern that they took from the Man United's it was 1990, 1992 away kit. It was blue and white, and it had this very 90s pattern.
One of United's most iconic jerseys.
Right.
So cool.
And it was it had a gradient from white to blue, and it was a M shape kind of thing, a flower faded.
It was weird.
And Adidas came out and was all right, let's bring that back, because they were also the ones who created that kit in 1990. And they were let's bring it back, but do it in all black. And then it just fades black to white, and the gradient is more subtle. And it just looks super clean. You got the Adidas 3 stripes on both sides. And it just and the what I love is that the crest became the same color as the jersey, black and white. The only bad part about the entire jersey is the fat Chevy logo on the front. And I know we talk way too much about Man United kits. Damn, should have picked that one. Anyway, the Chevy logo is just emblazoned on the front in yellow, kind of throws it off, but I don't think it throws it off enough that it would make me hate the kit.
Black, I personally always just love black kits. I love the way they look on the pitch, and then just style-wise, if you're wearing it with a regular outfit, it works. I love the jersey. I own the jersey, so I obviously love it. But the one thing I will say is if you look at it from the back, the front pattern goes away. So it's just it goes from the pattern and then in the back because they put for the name and the number. It just gets rid of it. I mean, it looks all right, but I think it would look cooler if it was just the entire jersey like the way it was for the old kit. It kind of just the contrast is a little too weird for me.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's definitely my favorite jersey that I have. It's also Paul Pogba, so obviously that's probably why. But I think the colorway is cool. I think Adidas is doing a good job of keeping the crest like a color that actually matches the style. They did it last year with the United white and gray that came out.
Yeah.
They've been doing it with other clubs so it makes more sense. I mean, some people might say that it's kind of it's taking away from the crest as like a historical thing, but they keep them the same color for the home ones, which is the one that really matters. And
right.
And like a lot of people will, I don't know, I feel like just marketing in general, they're just like, what makes it look nicer?
Right. I mean, what's going to sell more is things that look nicer.
True.
Right. So, and at the end of the day, if it's spreading the love for a club and whatever, who cares?
Your club.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's it for today.
Yeah. So that
We're
wraps it up.
all out of juice for topics. Nothing else. We're gonna go do some holiday shopping. Still have a lot left to do.
Oh yeah.
Crunch time, boys. But
whatever.
whatever.
Get to it.
Yeah.
Just get to it and get going.
Yeah.
Have a happy holiday.
Yeah, definitely happy holidays. Depending on when this comes out. Hope you've had a good time with your family, etc., etc., etc. That's it for us. Thank you for listening. Peace.
Peace.